Good morning. Good morning. What's up, everybody? Good morning. It's great to be back. Hope you guys have been well since I've been away, getting hitched out of the country. Let's see. Let me get. Sorry, I'm a little bit, slightly slow getting this thing started this morning, but we will make good progress today with everything, I am sure. Just having a couple little weird PC technical issues where I couldn't. It seemed like my stream was very slow. So I didn't want you guys to deal with buffering or anything like that. So I had to kind of do a little last minute reboot there to make sure that we don't run into issues as we get back into doing these live streams now that I am back and ready to tackle these markets with you guys. Real quick, let me get things started over in our Discord group. For those who have popped on the live stream this morning, please go ahead and say hello so I know you're here. Again, with the YouTube side of things, I don't have visibility to anybody who might just be casually watching. So if you're here, pop into the chat, say hello so I can say hello back. Would love to catch up with you guys after being out for the last, I don't know, seems like it's been a couple of weeks now, even though I'm sure it's been less. All right, so let's get over to the Xtrades Discord. Let me give these folks a quick heads up. Okay, bit details. Share this, copy that. Okay, cool. All right, let's get to go there. Let's join the morning live stream over here in the Xtrades Discord community. Again, those guys are just watching along casually. Let's get this screen sharing going for them. Go live. Okay, so let me get back over to our YouTube feed. What's up, folks? Good to see people here. Thoughts on Google today? What's up, Jonas? Deidre, good to see you. Alex, Usam, is that like ASMR? Usamr? Wondering what earnings will do to Google. What's up, Unknown Reviews? Colgate. Interesting. Okay, yeah, we could take a look at that. We're going to spend a lot of time doing new trade plans this morning. I don't have much to review because I'm still kind of playing catch up. I don't need this Roku chart right now, so we're going to save and close that. All right, so let's talk about where things are at with S&P futures here. As we see, we're seeing quite a pullback here this morning. I'm sure we had some data to spur that along. And again, I am still kind of playing a little bit of catch up on everything. Yeah, we had GDP come out this morning. Ooh, that is a pretty ugly and big miss there from a GDP perspective. So quarter over quarter, we were expecting a 2.5% GDP growth rate. That was the consensus, along with forecast of 2.3%. And a previous reading of the quarter over quarter GDP growth being at 3.4%. The actual reading came in at 1.6%. So that's a pretty ugly number. I'm sure that's has a major influence on why we are seeing this pullback now that that data has come out. We also had jobless claims this morning, 207,000, so slightly lower than the consensus. So, jobs market or job side of things, employment numbers still looking quite strong, but that GDP growth rate is a pretty big miss, I would say, in the world of expectations versus actual. So that's definitely what's got us pulling back into this demand zone here this morning. I did spend some time last night going over ES just to make sure that at the very least I had my bearings here so we could talk about sort of expectations across the markets as we go into the trading day today. And then we will definitely get into some of these ticker requests. Going to spend most of this live stream, like I said, doing trade plans because I don't have any trade plans to really review right now after being out for my wedding the past 8 or 9 days. And then on top of that, we also have plenty to cover here that will help me get up to speed with what you guys are looking at and what we should be watching as we head into the rest of this trading week. So again, looking at ES here, Not surprised to see this rejection that we're seeing here. We were running up against a support resistance level, had confluence with the 200 SMA here, bearish trend ribbon here on Neptune, short signal. Eventually, we are now breaking through this bullish flag that we were trying to hold here pre-market, but that has slipped based or with those economic data numbers that just dropped. And now we're testing this demand zone below. Nice little confluence down here around 50.42. I think as long as that holds, the market might try to stabilize a little bit. But that GDP number was a pretty, excuse me, ugly miss in my opinion. So, and we are slipping a little bit below this ascending trend line that was a little bit iffy to me anyway. So I wouldn't put a ton of stock into this breaking. This trend line overhead though is definitely confirmed invalid. So we have quite a bearish look at the moment, right? We've got the 200 below the 333, both of those trending to the downside here on ES futures hourly chart. Really struggling with the supply area overhead. We just recently rejected, as of yesterday afternoon, the top of that supply zone, which also has a little bit of a confluence there with this 51.27.25 level, pulling back into demand, trying to hold that. So again, as long as 50.42.25 holds on ES, I wouldn't be too eager to short anything, at least as far as ETFs go. And really, probably most tickers will follow kind of what the markets are doing. But below that, we could see puts become a really interesting play again, because I think that does open up quite a bit of room for downside to probably come down and test somewhere in this 49.88 to 49.98 area. So let's take a look at some of these ticker requests that you guys have dropped this morning. Like I said, I don't want to waste a ton of time on just talking about the S&P futures. Let's get to some trade plans, which will also help me kind of make sure that I'm getting some of the rust off after taking a prolonged break from trading to go do this whole wedding thing. All right, so Google was the first one that was asked for. So let's take a look at what's going on with Google. Actually, are running through a prior trade plan here. Let's see, we did this one back on March 21st. Really, and this looks like for some reason this must have been one that we did kind of quickly and on the fly, because it looks like it's just mostly an upside trade plan, or maybe we adjusted an old trade plan. But anyway, looks like Google has held that 148.42 level nicely. Let's see, this is about when I went out. So we've been moving up through some of these price targets. We're seeing a pullback. Looks like it kind of had a sympathy move from that Meta earnings report last night, which is, I mean, they beat top and bottom, but again, that's one of the things about earnings reports that makes things, or I should say, makes trading them with options a high risk approach to to trying to find money in the market, because a company can perform well but guide low, or there's a lot of different scenarios where the market reaction may not necessarily match up to what the numbers are. And then on top of that, you also have the IV crush to deal with, where your move, your contracts, the move that's made has to supersede or go beyond eclipse the expected move. So you could even be right on the direction and still have struggles making profit on your options contracts. So again, be very careful trading earnings reports. But going back to looking at Google here again, kind of interesting that it's playing out some of these old trade plan levels. Looked like it was trying to hold things bullish, but again, Meta really following Meta in sympathy, back testing or rejecting the 333 SMA. That's a fairly bearish look in my opinion. But let's get to doing a trade plan on Google here. Also, still kind of running through some all-time high areas where we're going to have to probably use some fib extensions and things of that nature to try to get our bearings for what we need to do with Google. So let's take a look at this. Let me catch up on what's happened since I've been away, and also see if we can't find some support and resistance levels up here now that Google has spent at least a little bit of time up in this range. So let's start mapping this stuff out. While I'm going through this, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask those in the YouTube chat. And for those watching on Discord, just a reminder that we are really shifting our focus over to doing these live streams on YouTube. So if you're in the Discord and you're asking questions or asking for my input on something, my apologies. I am not seeing that right now because, again, I'm really focused on what's going on with our YouTube community. So please come join the YouTube feed and join the chat there. Also, a reminder, make sure that you are subscribing to the Xtrades YouTube channel because starting in May, I am going to start, or I should say we are going to start limiting um, chat access to subscribers only. So, all right, let's figure out what we need to look at with Google here. This is definitely an interesting level. We may be getting ready to test here shortly pre-market. That's a pretty key support by the looks of it. This is also an interesting level right in here. A couple of daily levels hanging out in there. Interesting rejection there. Not seeing much else though on this kind of a double top move. We'll want to keep this on watch though, so just put a little bit of a placeholder on it for now. um, not quite. Again, I'd be surprised if we find a ton of levels on this daily chart because Google just hasn't spent a lot of time up in this range. But yeah, definitely moving in sympathy with Meta. That's a pretty good 4-hour level. We're going to keep that on watch. Yeah, definitely something right in this neck of the woods. Yeah, right about there. That looks good. And not a lot of time spent establishing levels down in this range, but just this little, seems like there's some pretty interesting flips of support and resistance down there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and pop onto the hourly chart. I guess this is probably the all-time high on Google. This printed while I was flying out of the country. So we'll keep this on watch. This will be a useful level. And this is no longer our quote unquote golden ceiling. All right. So yeah, interesting pre-market test there. Although it looks like the real key resistance level is really more like right here. So I'm actually going to adjust this down a little bit. This could also be a little bit of a weird print there since it is a pre-market wick. All right, anything else of interest kind of in this range? Yeah, this is a bit of an interesting level actually. 4-hour level. Or sorry, no, we're on the hourly chart. Duh. I left my brain in the Dominican. All right. Also interesting looking uptrend potential here. Trying to figure out if it actually holds up. If it's going to, it's probably going to be around there. It's not terrible. It's a little messy as far as trend lines go, or what I like to see with a trend line, but it's not the worst trend line I've ever drawn either. So we'll keep that kind of in our minds as a factor here. Anything else of interest that I'm seeing? Not a whole lot. I also don't think we're going to really actually need fib extensions because I think 159.70 is probably going to be a smart uh, high price target. But we'll see how this trade plan shakes out. So get the indicators on, see what that's showing us here on the hourly. Yeah, Google's looking like If it slips below this 152 level, puts are going to become an interesting play. Let's just clean up some of this stuff so it doesn't get distracting. I also then, like this, 153.04 level is a stop loss if we're going to try to catch more downside on this. Now below 152.13, that's an interesting little level that I don't have actually. Yeah, there's something here. Kind of a recently established and not heavily tested level. Only seeing it on the hourly so far, which is one of kind of the lower, weaker, quote unquote, time frames in my way of looking at things. There is potential there, though, for a bounce. So I'm kind of debating a little bit. I think we maybe nudge this entry level down just a little bit now that I'm looking at this again. Trying to knock some of the rust off here this morning after. May not seem like a lot, but man, eight days or so away from the markets can make things make you feel like you've not done this in forever. That also makes me question whether or not we need to make adjustments to the stop loss level. There is some interesting action right around in here. Because what I'm really looking at is this being kind of a smart first price target. I like that entry level. It has us about a 1-to-1. Let's just check this real quick. Before I do that, though, let's get over to the right area here. Do you want to check this out? Literally right on a 1-to-1 risk reward. So not ideal, not terrible, but those are what the levels look like to me. There is a potential earlier entry there, but again, my concern would be catching. You know what? I'm gonna shift this around a little bit. Let's take a shot at this actually. And then I want this is gonna be our first price target down here. This is, that looks a little better to me actually. So let's tweak this. This will give us a much better risk reward starting out on this trade. There we go. It's like a 1.36. Not too shabby. So below that first price target there at 151.66, then I think we're looking at 150.29 for downside, and then below 150.29. That's an interesting, but nothing but some tops. No real support along that. I'd be looking at this 148.42 level. Again, make sure you're moving your stops down if we're talking about the downside of this trade plan. As we play through this downside, make sure that you are moving your stops as the price action continues to the downside. So let's see. Hopefully, we'll hold that 153.04 level here pre-market. If we do break below it before market opens, I would wait for a back test of this as resistance before trying to jump into any trades. Don't chase right at open. Could see shorts taking profit, especially shorts that got in anywhere in this range. They could start taking profit. When those shorts take profit, that means they're buying to close their positions, which will bounce the price, at least temporarily. So I would wait for that bounce to happen, look for a back test of 153.04 to take entry for continuation down. If Google opens below 153.04 this morning. All right, so where does our upside become interesting? I was already kind of eyeballing this level, and it's sort of giving me more confirmation as I look through things that an entry over 155.21 could be interesting. I would definitely give us a first price target up here at this 156.25. Interesting confluence there. 200 SMA, top of the bearish ribbon there on Neptune. Got an existing fib extension level right there as well. So I'd be looking to take some profit there. Stop loss average down. Again, I haven't looked at Google while it's been up in this range very much because I've been away. I think there's a level right, yeah, right about here that if Google drops below, I would not want to be holding upside contracts for too much longer. 156.25. Then I'm looking for 157.14. Next price target for sure. Over that, it's a confirmed level. Yeah, it actually, it's interesting. Yeah, I'd be looking for this level. Maybe these fib extensions are just off slightly. That can happen. Again, they're just projections. They're not actual, hard data analysis levels. And yeah, here we see Google dropping below this 153.04 level. So again, my recommendation for that is wait to see if we get a back test of the put entry. Oops, that needed to be a long position before going after an entry on Google to play for downside. So our upside trade plan, we're looking for a break over 155.21. The target's at 156.25, 157.14, and 158.25. But let me drop this in the YouTube chat, and I'll also drop it in the Xtrades options watch list. And then we'll do a quick run through of this. Let's get back over to Xtrades watch lists. All right, so what are we looking for here on Google? We're looking for a break below 153.04, which we might be seeing here pre-market. For continuation to the downside, that should give us targets at 151.66, 150.29, and 148.42, with the stop loss average down at 154.03. Again, with Google having an overall bearish look to it here this morning, we're going to want to keep our targets and stop loss tight if we're going to try to catch upside on Google, which would take place if we break above 155.21. That should give us targets at 156.25, 157.14, and 158.25 with a stop loss average down at 154.59. And again, just a reminder, if we do open below the put entry level here at 153.04 on Google, please wait to see if we get a back test of that as resistance and then play that resistance rejection to the downside and then use the plan from there. That should work out nicely. If we don't get a back test, I would say wait for 151.66 support to break. Move your stop loss to 152.13 in that scenario. It's a bit of a chase at that point, in my opinion. So you're going to want to keep your stop tight. So again, if we don't get the back test and rejection entry at 153.04, then wait for 151.66 to break, and then use 152.13 as your stop loss. Use the remaining price targets as you see them. Those are your Google trade plans: upside, downside, inside, and outside. All right. So let's see what else. What other tickers do we have? We asked about Google. Ticker request Colgate from unknown reviews. Colgate is not one I think I've ever looked at before. Watch, we'll go to this chart and it'll have support or resistance levels on it. No, okay, I'm not too surprised by that. Get a little coffee in my life there. Interesting test of the 333 SMA, bullish ribbon. 333 just crossed over the 200 here. Earnings coming up tomorrow, pre-market. What's the volume like? Decent volume. Okay, let's take a look. Colgate. This could be a smart flight to safety if things ever shift away from tech. Not saying that that's going to happen, but interesting that the 200 is just dipping below the 333, but so that's slightly bearish, but that's really the only bearish thing I see, at least on this hourly chart. Also, could be looking at, and I'm going to hide my indicators just for a moment so I can focus on price action only. Is this, yeah, it looks like it's had a nice breakout and back test of some all-time high resistance around this level here on the weekly chart. That's a pretty good look for Colgate. This is kind of an approximate level. We'll dial it in here in a second. Maybe it's not as approximate as I said. It's pretty close to what I would be looking for actually to draw that level. So we'll stick with that as is. All right. Let's kind of find a lower limit below which I don't think we'll need to tread, which is probably in this range. Yeah, there's a good weekly level here. I'll be surprised if we need to look any lower than that. The other interesting part of this is we're going to need to do a fib extension, a trend-based fib extension. Let's take a quick look at where our trend is actually sitting. It looks like you know what? Let's go to a higher time frame. That hourly chart's a little noisy. Come on, grab that candle. There we go. This could be the trend. Or at least it's one I'm going to use for figuring out these fib extension levels. But I'm going to need some more support resistance levels in the mix here. Just wanted to kind of get a sense for that real quick. Yeah, and it looks pretty good here on the weekly chart too. So I like that. That's about what I was shooting for. Okay. So continuing on, let's map out the rest of these support resistance levels. Again, in my world, my approach to trading, support and resistance is the foundation upon which all analysis and trade plans are based on. I don't think we're going to see much in the way of other support and resistance levels, at least not on the weekly chart. There's not a lot of price data in action up here. Kind of liking this level, but it's not super clear here on the weekly chart, so I'm not gonna force it. Let's take a quick look at if there's any weirdness here on the extended hours chart, which there can be, like that little guy right there. So let's use the daily chart. This doesn't really do a lot of trading in the extended hour sessions, which is fine. Okay, so that's definitely an interesting daily level. This is as well. Could be something here, but yeah, Ricky, there is a Discord group you can join. I will post before I wrap things up. I will post a link that will take you to sign up for our Discord community. But yes, that's really kind of primarily what we do with Xtrades is we are a Discord community. We also have a web app that we are trying to also create as have a community aspect to it. To the web app, very impressive what our developers have done and what our founder and owner Kevin's vision has been for that. But yes, there's definitely a Discord community. That is where you will really, for me, it's what accelerated and my learning process as far as getting into options, making the shift from trading stocks to options, and then just learning from the group has been tremendously helpful to me on my personal trading journey. So yeah, definitely get into the Discord group, get in the mix, ask questions. There's a lot of people there with a lot of experience who are all willing to jump in and help new members and new traders to make sure that we're all kind of in this thing together. All right, so just trying to finish up these levels up in this range. And again, not a ton of price data to work with. Let's see what we can find maybe in this mix back here. Lots of tops, lots of resistance, couple of support touches though. It's there. It's right about, yeah, right about here. Not the cleanest daily level I've ever drawn, but it's there. And that's a pretty close um, approximation that of where the level is that we'll want to watch. This is definitely a very interesting level right here, though. All right, let's move this forward. Let's take a look at this 4-hour chart. Yeah, of course, Ricky. We would love to have you, man. Come get in the mix. Tell everybody how you found us. These live streams are kind of just a little taste of what we do every day at Xtrades. All right. Yeah, I've got a 4-hour level here. It's not, doesn't have the most touches in the world, but it's enough. And sometimes when there's minimal data, enough's all you got. All right. I think we're pretty close to having this Colgate plan ready to go. Let's see. Interesting. Lots of tops in this little range. Let's see if we can go back and confirm that there is a level here. Yep. I think we also have one. Yeah, right about here. And yeah, it's a little bit lower. There. Yep. Okay, cool. I think we've got things pretty sufficiently mapped out that I think we can now shift this to the hourly chart. And let's figure out our fib extensions. That's going to be key if we do wind up having an upside opportunity here on Colgate. I mean, really, this has been a long-standing, pretty strong trend that took things up to this all-time high test right up there. I do want to see, oh, you know what? I just realized, let's switch that. There we go. I don't want to get baked out on what's going on here. Yeah, thank you, CD, for chiming in on some of this stuff. Those are perfect explanations of why Xtrades is such a great place to be. All right, so let's knock out our trend-based fib extension so we can kind of project untested resistance levels. Come on, get on that. There you go. All right, so now the question becomes, where can we get some nice confluences? And these are going to be some broad, wide fib extensions. That's an interesting retest of that level. I might actually draw 2 sets on this, to tell you the truth. Yeah, I think this first set sits right about here. Oops, let me fix that before I draw the rest of these levels with the wrong colors. There we go. So this will be set 1. I also want to catch a tighter set, see if we have another starting point that we can begin another set of extensions off of. which I think we do. That is a more smaller time frame trend that we're going to run right off of about here. Yep. Now the question is there a support and resistance level there that we just don't have yet? Take a quick look at that. I do like to have my fib extensions be based on existing support and resistance levels, finding confluences or using them as start and end points. Yeah, there is a level, probably slightly lower, like right. Come on, move down, mouse, just a little bit. There you go. Dang it, I had it and I lost it. There we go, right there. Whoa. Oh, sorry. I think I hit the control key. Or I bumped my mouse, one of the two. All right, so yeah. Okay, cool. So let's do another set here just to make sure that we've got kind of a broad set and a tight set. One based on kind of a higher time frame trend. This one based on a smaller time frame trend. Let's see where we find our confluences. Yeah. Oh, wait, no, sorry. I got distracted by that other set of fib extensions. Probably, yeah, I could have this daily level off just a hair. I think it's sitting right there. I think this daily level actually sits more right there. I think we do also have an hourly level down here that we're going to want to watch. All right, this is like full top to bottom analysis on this one, but it's kind of what we need. This is also an interesting level, but not confirmed. We'll just kind of put in a placeholder there. And then let's map out these other fib extensions. Do this in a slightly different color. All right. Whoops, that down. That should be good enough. Okay. Let's throw these indicators on, see what they show us. I'm also just so they don't become distracting. I'm going to hide these fib extension drawings for now, but I'll leave them on here so we can circle back if needed. All right, let's see what Neptune's showing us. Pretty strong support confluence down near this 87 and some change level. What is that? 87.52 daily level. I could see some room opening up. Also, we don't need this anymore. That's not a valid trend line. I just wanted it for that trend-based fib extension. I think we get a little bit better confirmation and more opportunity for downside if we break below. Although that's way far removed from the current price action. We could have a better and earlier entry opportunity than that. I just got a little drawn into that confluence by the indicators. Looking at it, yeah, I think there is an opportunity below 88.33. First price target where I was going to set that, where I was going to set that entry level. Second target was going to be my first price target that I was looking at when I was kind of putting together the plan in my brain a moment ago. Third price target down at this weekly level. Those tend to be pretty strong. Stop loss average down. There may be a level right in here that I don't have that would be slightly better or give us a little bit more room to let the trade play out than what I currently have mapped on the chart with that 4-hour level there at 88.76. I think it's a little bit higher. We could use this hourly level. Again, slightly higher, but just gives it a little bit more room to play out, which sometimes that 10, 15 cents difference can make all the difference between keeping you in a trade that works out versus getting shaken out of a trade that ultimately goes in your favor. Oh, you know what though? That's the one thing I need to remember when I'm not looking at extended trading hours. We are already down below and testing that. 333 on the extended chart. All right, we're going to make a slight adjustment to this, actually. My apologies. Forgot to switch back to that. I'm a little rusty after being away for a while. Let's make some adjustments here. I'm going to flip this around. I'm going to switch this up to be in our stop loss. This is no longer a factor in this downside trade plan, so let's get that out of the way. Let me hide this real quick. I want to see price action for a second here. All right, yep, let's make this adjustment as well. Play this down to this being our PT1. PT2, I do like at that weekly level. You know what, actually, we're going to make a slight shift here on both of these. Looking at this price action. There we go. That looks good. All right. Let's throw this on here. Now for the upside trade plan, pretty clearly we're looking for a break of this 89.32. Just at a glance, also looking at how things can ramp up above that. Clear rejection here, pre-market on Tuesday. I like this as our stop loss in this scenario. It's actually that level maybe just slightly lower, like right here. Yep. Small adjustment. First target. I know this isn't a man, that's tough. Hang on, let me go back to my, because again, Colgate, at least from what I've seen so far, doesn't really trade, at least not cleanly during the extended hours trading. I'd be looking more, and again, this is another, there's not a lot of data up in this range. So it's not a confirmed level, but I would certainly be looking for this multi-top resistance as a first price target. Over that, I think we start getting into some of these fib extensions, and really, since we've never tested anything, I think we just go for the first two we've got on that breakout, taking things up to potentially 92.25 for what I am 90+% sure would be, all-time highs for Colgate. Just wanted to make sure before I made that statement. All right. So this would be the upside trade plan. And this is an interesting one. So thank you for this one. Who was that? Unknown Reviews, I think. Yeah. Thank you, my friend, for being here. And thank you for sharing Colgate with us as a potential setup. Also should be pretty accessible for those working with smaller accounts. Make sure that you buy plenty of time on your options contracts with this one. They should be affordable. I don't imagine there's a ton of volatility baked into those contracts. It's also trading below $100, which should also factor into the affordability. But keep in mind, again, pre-market tomorrow, there is an earnings report. So if you get into anything today, try to establish free runners only, or make sure you have plenty of time so you don't get smoked with IV crush as we go overnight and into the pre-market session tomorrow. But this one has interesting looks to it. Also pays a really strong dividend for something that is trading around the $100 range. 50 cents a share isn't bad for a quarterly dividend on something trading sub $100. So keep that in mind. It's not a bad stock buy, in my opinion. It could be a flight to safety scenario too if the things get shaky in tech and growth sectors. So here is your trade plan. Colgate. And let me post this over in the options watch list real quick in our Discord community. See how live stream plan. All right, so what are we looking for here on Colgate Palmolive? We are looking for a break over 89.32 to catch more upside. That should give us targets at 90.14, 91.31, and 92.25 with a stop loss average down at 88.72. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 87.80. That should give us targets at 86.87, 86.43, and then on down to 85.68 with the stop loss average down at 88.33. That is your, or those are your, I should say, Colgate trading plans. So I am very happy to be back. Thank you guys for sticking things out while I was away. I know there was plenty of analysts in the groups who probably kept you guys well taken care of in my absence while I was off getting hitched. This is officially the close of my first live stream as a married man today. So thank you guys for coming back and joining me. Things should be back to the regular schedule from this point forward, unless you hear otherwise. So every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be doing these live streams here on YouTube. So make sure you come back and join those. I'll continue to fill out the calendar. Looking at candles, talking about calendars. We'll continue to fill out the calendar to make sure that you guys can check the schedule in advance to see if there's any changes or shifts in what the expected schedule is. But again, generally speaking, just plan on every Tuesday and Thursday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to be here for the Xtrades FOMO live stream. For those of you who are new to joining us and for those who have been around and joining these for a while, I want to thank all of you for being here this morning. And exactly, CD, you caught it. You beat me to the punch. As we always say here, plan your trades and trade your plans on the FOMO live stream. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I will see you in the Discord. Ricky, I will circle back and we'll post a link in here momentarily. But thank you guys again for joining me. We'll be back Tuesday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good luck. Go out there and secure the bag. I will see you guys in our Discord. Have a wonderful day. Take care.